Hey there, everyone. Dr. Beth Westie here, and I wanted to pop on and talk about PCOS and exercise and really cover some specific things here when you're looking at any type of exercise routine related to your hormonal issues. Now, as have things listed here, you might be like, well, it doesn't say to do this exercise. It doesn't say to do that specifically. Right. Because each person is going to be different, right? And I always share my own experience, health history, all that stuff. So I had horrific ovarian cysts after having children. I've been an athlete my whole life, right? Um, Never had any cysts before having kids, but after having kids, a lot of stress, all the things, started getting cysts, and it was terrible. Now, before that, when I was working out, I mean, I got a scholarship to play volleyball in college. So a high level athlete who worked out like 3 to 4 hours a day on the regular, no big deal. But after having kids and everything that changed and the stress impact and everything else, I mean, I didn't have time to work out like that anymore. But also, a lot of times I see things that people say that you can't work out like this or you can't do this or that with PCOS. And the tough thing about that is that it makes you feel like you're limited in terms of what you can do performance wise. As an athlete myself, as a physician and everything, I have friends and fellow teammates and things with also that have had PCOS and that we've been able to do work out to a level that we want to. I have friends that run marathons that have PCOS. I have teammates that I played football with for the Minnesota Fix-It. This is full contact women's football. And with PCOS, it doesn't mean that you can't do things. All it means is that you have to take a different angle on how you support your body and really manage your hormones when you're doing exercise. So I don't want you to feel like you're restricted. I keep seeing things like this all over the place where it's like, oh, you can't work out like this, you can't do that. And I'm thinking, well, if for somebody who's an athlete or somebody who's competitive or who wants to achieve a different level of fitness or who wants to, like bucket list, maybe you want to run a half marathon and you're thinking, gosh, I have PCOS, I can never do that in my life. No, it's all about training. It's all about giving your body the time it needs to acclimate to get to that level and really paying attention to these things here. So that's what this list is. This list is to help you get to a point for training. Now, again, this is general. This is the place to start. This is not specific. If you are looking for specific recommendations, if you are looking for tailored, nutrition and supplements and everything, I'm going to have you go right here in the comments, get on the wait list for the next 12-week challenge. That way you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. That way you don't feel like I can't do things in life because of my PCOS. No, it's just a part of it, and all you have to do is shift and tweak what you're doing and work with somebody who understands how to guide your system through this and understand that it might take a little bit longer than somebody else who doesn't have PCOS, and that's okay. So just have a different timeline in mind. So PCOS and exercise, the main thing that you're working against here is your body's cortisol response. Cortisol response is going to add that much more inflammation and stress to your system that your body already has to deal with PCOS. Oof, right? This is going to be really, really important that you're doing everything possible to manage and mitigate your body's cortisol and stress response. Now, once you are able to do a training schedule and deal with the cortisol response, um, you can push your system pretty hard and have it recover really, really well. So this is like a whole video. Let me know if you guys want me to do a whole video on this. Like put a comment below. More than happy to just dive right into that, specifically cortisol response and PCOS. But that in and of itself like deserves an entire deep dive if you guys want it. But otherwise, that's the main thing to watch here is your cortisol response. The more you can manage your cortisol levels, the easier things are going to go for you. Nutrient timing. Nutrient timing is very, very important. Please do not ever work out fasted in a fasted state. That's going to increase your cortisol response. That's going to deplete your system of glycogen. It's going to put more stress and strain on your liver, which is also worse for PCOS issues. Make sure you're getting full restorative rest. Full restorative rest. This means that while you're working out, while you're doing sets, while you're lifting, things like that. I keep seeing things, people posting information like, do workouts, do this workout. This is the workout you should do for PCOS. And I'm like, but for who? It depends. For some gals that are in a really tough spot, they can't even do half that workout. And for other gals who are athletes, that's like their warm up. So it's not so much about what you're doing as where is that fall within your training schedule and are you getting that full restorative rest? This is how elite level athletes train. You train hard and you recover even harder. That is how you get to the next level. And when you have a hormonal issue like PCOS going on, that's how you have to treat your body. You have to treat your body as if it's an elite athlete. And for some, if you're like, I'm an elite athlete and I have PCOS, yes, right? Yes. You know what I mean? This is this is what the biggest game changer will be for so many women. Full restorative rest. Also a whole separate video, but I will mention a few things about this. This is not just like, oh, I'm not working out, that's resting. No. This is making sure you're taking care of your muscle tissue. This is making sure you're taking care of like the minerals, nutrition, hydration, stretching, mobilization, right? You're taking care of the lymph, you're taking care of your fascia. There's a lot of stuff to warm up and cool down and then do in the off time to make sure you're resting. And sleep is also part of this. So that's like the short list. If you want, again, leave me a comment. Let me know if you want me to do a full dive on restorative rest to actually recover from workouts so that it's beneficial for your hormones. Flushing your lymph. Excess hormone gets stuck in your lymph. And even if you're like, oh, I'm doing walking, great. But if you're not actually getting that lymph to move, you have to move the lymph, otherwise it won't move. It's not like your heart pumps the blood, but the lymph, the fluid, doesn't move unless you move it. And that makes the biggest difference in the world to flush the lymph. Nutrition to rebuild your muscles. This is very, very different. In the past week alone, I've heard so many times people are like, are you sure I'm supposed to eat that much protein? That seems like a lot. That seems like an excessive amount. And I'm like, you're not even getting enough to support the lean tissue you have, let alone rebuilding that muscle tissue. That's the important level your system will need. With hormone issues, your body, it needs a different level of protein to be able to upload, absorb, process, and utilize that for your hormones. I talk about this a lot in the 12-week challenge. I talk about this a lot when we work together because this is really, really, really important. And again, some of these levels here that I make specific recommendations for each person are based on what your hormone test results are. Again, something that we do in the 12-week challenge, which the link is in the comments there. And then the last thing here is eat for your cycle. Eat for your cycle. This is what I teach women how to do. Eat for your dang cycle. Make sure you are getting in enough food, nutrient overall, but make sure you are acknowledging the estrogen, progesterone, and helping your system regulate your hormones better, which you can do just using your food. Again, this is what I have my book based on, The Female Fat Solution. This is on Amazon. So there's info here. This is what I take you through in the 12-week challenge. Again, that wait list is in the comments. If you're like, I don't have a cycle anymore, Female Menopause Solution. Lots of great information here as well. And then my podcast is called The Female Health Solution. And then my YouTube channel is called Dr. Beth Westie. Great resources for you to start with. If you're like, okay, I get it, but what do I do? Like, what do I do? Do I go to the gym? Do I lift at home? Do I use resistance bands? What do I do? Right? That's oftentimes what you guys are thinking right now. It depends on where you are at and what your goal is. If you are having a hard time, your body's inflamed, your gut is disrupted, all this stuff, and you're like, I want to run a half marathon and I want to train for that this month. I'm not saying you can't do it. That's just a lot of work to do in a very short amount of time. My program is a 12-week program because that's a hormone cycle for women. It is built for the female body. So it takes that long for the hormones to shift and change. So make sure that you are giving your body enough time, right? If you're in a really tough spot and you're like, okay, I want to run, be able to run 10 miles really, really well. Awesome. It might take a couple of months at least of working on some of this stuff to make sure your system gets to a point where you can do that. So that's what I got for you guys today. Please let me know if you have any other questions. Please let me know if there's anything else I can answer for you. But this is one of the biggest things here to get started with. And please, there's no special workout just for PCOS. It depends on you. It depends on your health history, your gut, your thyroid, all these other factors, to take into account, as well as what your goals are. Don't be limited by, a diagnosis. So let me know if you need anything else, or if you want me to do a deep dive, like I said, on some of these other things I talked about. I'm more than happy to do that. Otherwise, have a great day, and I will see you later.